Hello, everyone. I'm on the phone with this amazing leader who you all probably know from her amazing social media professional campaign that she has built. But what we're going to try to do in this visit that we've got together is talk a little bit more about Yvette from the standpoint of who she is as a person, what she's experienced in her life. She's a wife and a mother. And so she's got those roles that she also relishes and does really, really well. But I think we're going to find out that none of it's easy. And that's the way life really is. And even though there are people like Yvette that make it look easy,
Yeah.
when we scratch the surface a little bit, we find out that there's a lot of pain and suffering that she has gone through, just like the rest of us have to go through if we want to become exceptional at what we're doing. So with that, Yvette, why don't you give us a snapshot? Now, I'm not going to ask how old you are. You look like you're about 30, so we'll leave it there. But tell us what you've done in your life to this point. You know, when you met up with Unicity, tell us about what happened in the years before that and just sort of a little snapshot of you.
So born and raised in South Louisiana, I am a perpetual salesperson. I sold our entire house's furniture and it was not for sale at a yard sale. So I knew I could sell anything. When I became a massage therapist for the Atlanta Braves and the New Orleans Saints, I had a guy, you might have heard of him. His name is David Justice. He was asking me about his labrum. And I said, all right, I got to start researching about the labrum because I wanted to be the most educated massage therapist for professional sports. Okay, cool. Well, then that led me to nursing school because my great grandmother was a nurse. And I thought, I'll be a nurse. Why not? So I went to nursing school, got my behind handed to me for 2 years. It's cool. Realized that I am much more than a 7 to 7 nurse. I actually care about patients from birth to death. So I said, how can I make a difference in the world? Someone said pharmaceutical sales is where it's at. I did some pharmaceutical sales. Wasn't my gig. I don't like to be micromanaged. And so when I got on TikTok to annoy my grown men, 24 and 26, Trenty Talk found me and said, I love what you're doing. Are you with the Feel Great system? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I said, yes, why not? I'll order it. What the heck? I don't drink tea. I don't even know what you're talking about. So I ordered it, came in all my rush to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Rav and Trent called me. What do you want in your life? I'm like, I don't know. So I ordered the kit. In 7 days became a partner and just order after order after order because what I portrayed in the screen on TikTok to complete strangers was genuinely real. It was the missing link to what I've been doing as a nurse, as a pharma rep, and as a diabetes educator. I'm like, oh, this is the missing link. Finally getting the text, I'm winning. And then the rest is history. So that's how I got here. And it all worked out. All roads lead to here.
Now that's great. Thank you. I want to just zoom in a little bit and so you get a job as a massage therapist, not just a massage therapist, but a massage therapist for professional athletes who can obviously hire the best of everything, and they must because their success is measured in milliseconds. And so you're doing that, and most people would be like, this is pretty awesome. I'm hanging out with celebrities. I'm seeing these guys on Sunday doing their thing, right? But for whatever reason, you made a pivot there. And it's interesting to me how many people can't stop doing something when they're successful at it. In other words, you can't let go of what you've got to go to another level. You did that not once, but 3 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I've worked for the Olympics. I've worked for the Patriots, a couple of Super Bowls and their biggest Super Bowls in the world. I've worked for professional tennis, professional golf. And I just kept thinking education's missing. So I went to nursing school and I was like, oh, I'll just be a nurse. And so there's no accidents, there's no mistake. So I became the 7 to 7 army rat, clock in 6:38, clock out at 7:15, and I thought there's got to be more than this. There has to be more than this. So keep reinventing myself. And when my father was dying, I was like, wow, we could have prevented this. And so as I watched him take his last breath in 2021, I thought, there's got to be more. Why am I who I am, and where do you want me? So I just kept asking more questions, and that's what led me here.
So I'm hearing that you can thrive and succeed in a vocation, profession, but you can also suffer there, and you have to measure the reward to the suffering and make a cost equation about, is this the best use of me?
Yeah.
Is this the highest leverage I can get of me?
Yep.
So that's great. Very unusual. And it's important that people understand that this is not common, but it is essential if you're going to go to that highest level, right? You've got to step away from success in something to get greater success in something higher, in a higher leverage or a higher productivity. All right. So you joined, and you immediately begin to have some pretty astonishing success. And that doesn't happen for very many people. But wouldn't you argue that your success initially with Feel Great was a function of all these other experiences?
Yes. Yes.
So you did get it. It was portable. You could take it, even though you thought you were leaving it behind. You could take it with you.
Yep.
Talk to me about that.
Well, it's funny because I've been a pharma rep, PHARMA, pharma, yeah. And then I just became a farm rep, right? I became an FARMA. It was easy to transition to something, but when you're skirting past side effects and cost, and I'm actually lying to doctors to get them to write prescriptions, it feels pretty crappy, right? So when I found this system, I got the box, and I saw that it was the equivalent of what I just studied in diabetes education. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the same MOA, delays gut absorption, stops glucagon production. I went, oh my God. Because as a nurse, rationales really matter. Everything I did was, this is because of this, and that's why we have an action. That's all nursing is. So I said, I got the rationales, and I started utilizing it in my daily life, and my personal life changed. And I thought, this is where I was supposed to be. I'm supposed to get people out of that hamster wheel of pharmaceutical and the lying and the, anyway. So that's why I think that all roads led here, because I'm able to use all of my skills, largest massage therapist in the world, nursing 12 hours, get my behind handed to me 12 hours a day, to now I control the puppet strings, right?
Right.
So that's how,
right. And all of those things sort of leveraged innate abilities in you, some of which you didn't know you had, right? Interesting.
I didn't want to be a leader. I've never wanted to be a leader. I have 2 great children. My boys are literally the epitome of my husband, who's an Eagle Scout, engineer, dorky spreadsheet guy, to discipline, discipline, discipline. And I couldn't be happier on the way we raised our kids. But now it's my time. This is my time to make a difference in the world. And, like you say, I mean, I didn't know I had this God-given ability. I just never used it before. It was in here. I just never used it before. Now.
Yeah, always there, but you have to go through some opposition to discover it, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, so many people, I think one of the reasons, the method seminar training that we do, one of the reasons it's resonated with so many people is they're discovering that they have abilities that they didn't know they had, because they were quitting before they discovered them. And so in your case, you did that. I don't know, maybe it was great parenting, maybe it was the process, but you discovered this resolve and resilience on your own, and that's very unusual. If you think about, let's sort of pivot now and talk about, okay, you started with Unicity and had this immediate flush of success. Has it been a bed of roses the whole time?
Oh God, no. I remember doing a live and everyone came at me. I think they talked about my ears, my hair, and having a nursing degree. People talk about your degree. You can ask Tillman. I shut the phone off. I said, I'm done. I'm done. I went outside. We had a gazebo at our apartment complex and I cried and I cried and I cried. I said, I want my life back. I want my anonymity back. And I said, nope. I turned the live back on. I said, you're not going to beat me. And it was the best live ever. I've quit 1,000 times. I mean, I've literally quit 1,000 times, but
Wait a minute. You were in the middle of a live and you were getting hammered. And so you just turned it off and left?
I went outside and I was sitting in the gazebo in our apartment complex. And I literally sat and I cried and I cried. I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I am not what they say. And I was like, you know what? Why are you letting them win? So I turned the live back on. I put the camera back on. I just finished the live. I was like, you know what? If you're not in the arena kicking my behind, your opinion means nothing to me. And I had to say to myself a million times, because no one tears someone down doing better than them. Like no one doing better than you turns around and tears you down. I was like, all right, just keep.
No, it's always the ones who are miserable, right?
Yep.
But that was obviously a watershed moment. It re-engaging, right?
Yep.
That's cool. Let's talk about some of there's this, my favorite movie of all time is a Spielberg movie that hardly anybody's ever heard of. And it's called Joe versus the Volcano, right? And the story is, you got this character who's working the shift at the factory, and it's miserable and it's black and white. Spielberg does a brilliant job. He once said in an interview it was his most important movie. And I think what he was trying to say was that this is life for most people: going to a job they hate, working with people they don't respect, doing work that is not significant, but they don't leave because they're afraid of the unknown.
Yes.
They're afraid. It's like, this is awful, but maybe, just maybe, the other thing's worse, right? And so they don't quit. And there's this one scene where the boss is saying on a telephone, he's in an argument with another boss on the telephone, and he says, listen, I know he can get the job. Can he do the job? The question is, can he do the job, right? And as he's going through that, it's been a real sort of touchstone for me, because I'll see people all the time that are good enough to get the job. They're great interviewers. They're great interviewees. They say all the right things. They look good. They dress for success. They just, you come in and you meet them and you say, this is the guy, right? And you hire them and they can't do the job, right? Because all they're equipped for is getting the job. So the question is, as you got the job and then you met reality, you had that initial flush of success, which can sometimes be a problem, right?
Yes.
I didn't ever have that. I was not a early bloomer. And so, but I've seen guys who they came into the business with a certain set of skills and knowledge that allowed them to just immediately become successful. I mean, they deserved it. They paid the price someplace else and they brought that with them, like you did. But then after that success, they had to go back down and get in the mud and wrestle their way back up the old-fashioned way, because there's a bunch of learnings here that had to be learned only through practice. And it's amazing how many of those people cannot. That early flush of success was poison for them. It poisoned them. It didn't for you. So when the business started getting tough, and I'm not just talking about the negative comments online, but people who joined you didn't all succeed. Some of them quit. Some of them blame you for the failure, right? What when that started happening? So you've got the social media thing cranking, you're making some money with that, but we all know organizational development is where the real leverage is, right? And so now you're building that, and now you've got to engage with people long term and find out that some people are pretty broken, What
Yes.
happens in your head?
Well, as far as Trent said, we have a word called bless. Bless. I will meet you where you are. My time is so valuable. And if you have you don't have to have the same drive as me, but you have to, if I respect you, you respect me. And so something that Trent and I say all the time is bless, because I have a lot of people that drain my batteries, and that's okay. You have to just meet people where they are, right? As you said, people don't self-destruct on purpose, right? Life happens. So I try to meet people where they are, and I give them as much of my time as I can. And I have to take a step back. Do you remember the running game where you would run in a line and the first person would go to the back and then the first person would go to the back, and it's just this over and over? I think it was called the snake or something. I just put that person in the back. I don't discount them because people will surprise you. And I have to start putting my energy where my energy is being best used. And it's a very hard place to be, because at the end of the day, I really truly want everyone that I'm pulling up the mountain to succeed. And some people just will go back down to base camp, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I take those losses personally because I want everyone to go to Bangkok and I want everyone to go to the method, but maybe it's not their time, right? So it's hard for me to put that energy into a person that's not ready to receive it, or they just never will be. So
Yeah, let's develop that a little bit. How do you know when a person is ready to receive it? What behaviors do they manifest?
I give very simple guidance. There's 3 things I want you to do. Here's an onboarding video. Here's Trent's website that is like literally the Jetsons. I came in with the Flintstones. This is the Jetsons. And then I give all this guidance. The person that calls me and says, hey, I did all the onboarding. I made all the calls. I have my list. They actually dug in and got busy. The person that calls me a month later and says, what was that? What do I have to do again? I'm like, you're going to run at the back of the line for a while, and I'm going to worry about the 6 people that are actually coming in. And, again, it's not a personal thing. It's just, you're not ready. Doesn't mean it's not now, someday, it's just not now. And when you're ready, come to me with the assignment that's due and let me know, because in pharma, you got an iPad, you got an algorithm, and you had to finish this audit sheet. And when you didn't finish the audit sheet, sucks to be you, you need to go home. So I kind of play that same rule. We make it very easy. Trent and Denise have made this very seamless. Unlike when I came, it was literally chaos because we didn't know what we were doing. But I mean, that's kind of how and it's not a judgment, it's just a gauge, because the best predictor in future behavior is past behavior. So if they behave like this now, chances are when they come in, I'm still teaching them the same skills. So.
Yes. Now, you've given them these 3 assignments, and they engage the assignments, but they bomb at them. They make the calls, but nobody says yes. I mean, they're doing the behavior, but they're not getting the results. What does that do for your head?
Obviously we need to do some one-on-one. We used to do a lot of, we used to call it POA meetings in pharma, where you actually had to act it out. So like today I got on the phone with a lady and we literally acted out what she should be saying. And she was like, that's it. I'm like, that's it. So I try to because not everyone is the same. There's a thing called the bank code, BANK code, BANK code. If I'm talking to you about something and you're an analytical person, you don't care about the science, I need to change how I'm talking to you. So I try to change my behavior with who I'm speaking to. Somebody like Rav Malik hears something different than I'm saying. Trenti Talk will hear something different. So I always change, and I use the bank code, and I change my teaching to each patient, each person.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to dig in on this a little bit. You've got somebody who's willing to do everything you tell them, but they just don't get results.
That's a tough one. Yeah. Happens all the time. I am struggling with a few people right now that I adore, and I want them to win bigly. So I will bring in someone else and say, what do you see in this person that I'm missing? And
interesting.
so,
Yeah.
like,
Tell me about how, when that's happened, let's talk about the last few times you've done that. What did they see that you hadn't seen?
it could be something as simple as a sentence. I have a wonderful RN that has his own family business down in Louisiana, and he's an altruistic person. I want to make everyone better. And Trent simply says, this gives you the venue to make thousands better. And he was like, Oh my God, that's gold. This is where the team environment works really well, because I'm a very high intense, very hyper person, where Shannon's an analytical person. So I may bring Shannon in and Shannon's like, let's try this angle. So I think that's where the team becomes very important. My top three, I talk to them daily. How can I win at this? How am I losing? Where am I losing? Where can I win? And that's where the team comes in. And when you have an incredible leader who sees all, does all, it really helps lead people a better way. So I mean, you can't win them all. Not everyone's going to be you. And some people, this isn't for them. And it has to be that kind of thing. Maybe not now, maybe reevaluate later. So.
One of the things that I've observed in a lifetime of working with people in sales, and in particular our company, is that, you know, there's mindset and skill set, right? And mindset is something it's hard to see it, but it's easy to change it. Skill set is easy to see, but it's hard to change, right? And so one of the things that I've been trying to, you know, as a company, what we look at is we say, well, listen, we don't have the capacity to make an impact on skill set even remotely as good as the organizational structure does. The leaders, they know how to teach because they know how to do. And yet we can have people with amazing skill set, and they have such a broken mindset. They've just got so much poor data in their subconscious that it doesn't matter whether they're a 10 of 10 in every single skill, they'll find a way to destroy everything, right? The subconscious will just sabotage them. And so one of the things that we've seen is that we bring people into the method, they have this incredible aha moment, and then they get out and find out, guess what? I still need skills. And so one of the things I was telling the people in Dubai on Saturday is that, you know, input times process equals output. That's a common formula that is just flat true, right? And so you've got data in the subconscious mind, and you're going to multiply that by how you use your skills and what skills you've got, and that's going to be your output. So we can fix that mindset pretty quickly. And if you've got great skill set already, then you're going to see some amazing outcomes very quickly. But if you've got poor skill set, you wouldn't give you that great mindset, and that will give you the endurance to keep going. But if you don't get on a training regimen with somebody who actually has those skills, you're not going to get those skills, and you're not going to get the outcomes. And so here's something that I've talked about this a lot. Number one, if you're going to choose a mentor, you focus on what they've accomplished, not what their stories about what they've accomplished. I mean, you've got people out there who maybe accomplished something 25 years ago, like me, right? I mean, I accomplished something 25 years ago, but if you came to me about how to do the business, I would send you to somebody else, because I don't have the current skill set. I just don't. I'm honest enough about it to say I don't. But I see guys like me, I mean, guys my age or in their 50s even, and they were superstars when they were in their 30s, but they haven't done an in-home presentation. They haven't done a one-on-one. They haven't done anything like that in a decade or two, and yet they want to get on stage and pontificate about it. And so you have to be very careful about choosing mentors, because a mentor has a shelf life, right? If they're not engaged right now, they're not going to be a good mentor for what you're doing right now if you're doing that thing. So that's the first step of that. The second step is when you choose to actually engage with somebody and choose to follow them, they don't duplicate your personality, they duplicate your process, right? And so you meet people like you, and I see people already trying to pretend to be you, right? They try to put on those little things that we all see in you, and I'm thinking it doesn't work. You know, you can't be her. You just look foolish. But while you're looking foolish trying to be her, you're not being you.
Yes.
And that's the real magic, is the being you, the authentic you. You said at the beginning of our visit, you said, that's me. I was successful because when people looked, they saw the real me, right? Yep. So talk to me a little bit about, you got somebody and they maybe they've got a rough mindset and they come to the method and they get all fired up, and yet they're still stumbling. What kind of a program do you put them on?
I have a very, very good partner. I think she's like my sixth partner. She quit a few times because she doesn't know what she's doing. And I said, well, have you identified who you are? What do you mean? I said, who are you in this world? Are you Susie Q, the homemaker? Are you Susie Q? Who are you? Who do you want the world to see? And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm XYPDQ. And I said, well, then be that person. I failed miserably trying to copy one of Trent's videos. I mean, I literally tried to look like him. I cut my hair. I had I mean, I literally was like, okay, you're not Trenty Todd. Who are you? I said, you know what? I'm kind of an obnoxious Louisiana girl who actually gives a dang about people's health. And so I stuck with that, and it seems to be working. So this person is one of my favorite humans. And I just told her to identify who she wants people to see in her. And she's like, that's it. I said, that's it. You have grandkids, you vacation, you're from New York, you're a wonderful human being. Why don't you believe it? And that was it. And she came back and she said, I'm back. I'm ready for it. Because it's very hard to see. And I feel sorry for kids these days because they see all these kids that are living these lives out on social media. And it's the most attractive people are the authentic people. And I just told her, be herself. And she's really, really digging in now to be herself. Because trust me, I have laid in the bed many a nights going, what am I doing? Who am I? What do I do tomorrow? How do I get better? How do you get better than where I am now? And how do I get better is that the people behind me get better. And so I've done that thing you did on the mountain. Now you turn around and you help people come up. And I say that to myself all the time. So sorry to digress, but that's what I told her. Be yourself and find out your authentic self and see let people see who you are on the camera. And she's doing it. So
you have a person in your organization that I've watched pretty carefully. And I've seen, we're not going to mention names here, but at the beginning, when they first came to my attention, it was kind of difficult to watch what they were doing. It was just kind of difficult, right? And I could tell that the person was not authentic. Now that's a difference. There's a difference. This person's honest.
Yes.
I mean, I would say that this person's one of the most honest people, very direct, very upfront, got tons of integrity, but on the social media, there was not the authenticity. And sometimes it was just a little hard to watch it, honestly, because, I'm in there. And so I'm in there watching you guys. And sometimes I'll see something and I'll say, wow, that was good. And sometimes I'll see something and I'll say, oh, that's painful. And so, but I'm no expert, but I mean, I'm just judging my feelings. And so I've noticed in the last 6 months, this person it's like the caterpillars become the butterfly.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yep. And you know probably who I'm talking about.
Yes. Well, I teach one thing that Rav will say about me that I can duplicate. Yvette doesn't really give a rat's behind what people think of her. I really don't. I don't care because I can stand here with integrity and say, well, it sucks to be you because I'm changing lives over here. You just keep bashing me. I'm good. But this person couldn't take the punches and finally is like, you know what? I'm good for the punches. I'm ready for them. And I think became very integrity driven and is killing it. So sometimes you have to say, if you're not in the arena, kicking my behind, your opinion means nothing to me. And it doesn't.
It was that conversation that made the difference for this person?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So that hard conversation When do you know when someone's ready for that?
Um, really, it's like children. I have a child that's 24 years old and he's always done things his way. When he was ready to join me in the business, I let him come to me. I'm a soft place. I'm the parent. I parent everyone. And I used to say this to my managers in pharmaceutical sales. I want you to manage me like I parent my children. Give me the skills, give me what I need, and when I need to come to you, I can. So that's how I parent my boys. My boys knew they can come to me with anything. So that's how I manage my team. Don't ever ask me a question you don't want the answer to. Never. I don't know how to lie. But at the same time, I'm here for you when you're ready. And so this person said, you know what? What am I doing wrong? I'm like, you complain too much. Yeah, complaining gets you nowhere. Complaining will keep you right where you are. And that person stopped and they changed their whole life. And now they've really changed their whole life. So I'm the soft place to land. I'm the person that says, when you need me, I'm here. Because my friend used to say, you can lean on me, you cannot walk on me. You can lean on me for anything, but don't walk on me. So
But you're a soft person, but you're willing to be hard.
yes. Yep, that's it. I've learned a lot about myself since I've been here for 2 years. I came here almost being kind of a jerk to Trent. And when Rav called, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. They're in Thailand. You're in Thailand? What are you doing in Thailand? You're calling me in, whatever. And so I kind of had a little bit of an attitude because I had a job. And then when it all fell in place, what a great place to land, Who doesn't want Trent on their phone every day? So, yeah.
Well, I think let me ask you a question. What do you feel? A couple of years, it seems like longer than that.
Yes.
I feel like you've been here longer than 2 years. Your results are certainly bigger than 2 years would suggest they should be. But what would you tell? We've got people listening to this. What would you tell them if they're in a slump right now?
Don't quit. I hate push-ups. I hate push-ups more than anything in the world. So what do? Push-up. Well, I have a rotator cuff tear, but when we're at the gym, Tillman will look at me and go do push-ups. I'm like, okay, do the hard work, pick up the heavy phone, make the phone calls. And that's the hardest part. Trent put me on a task today. I had to, reach out to 5 people and I had very big success. I hate it. Do the hard stuff. And really and truly, at the end of the day, you can look in the mirror and said, I did the hard stuff. She gave me a challenge and I won. And each challenge gets easier and easier and easier. So I kind of liken everything to wellness and healthcare. It's hard as crap walking in a gym, not knowing what you're doing. You look like a fool. You feel foolish, but no one's judging you unless you're at Walmart lifting weights. You look like a fool at Walmart lifting weights. Nobody like, what are you doing? It's only funny at Walmart. It's only silly. I used to tell my kids that it's weird at Walmart. It's not weird picking up the phone and saying, hey, Mike, I was just thinking about you today, man. You're a good guy. I know you're at the doctor more than you're home. Would you like to talk to me? That really matters to me. My mom says all the time, she's 76 years old. She died on the table in 2017. And she says, Yvette, I just want people to feel like me. And so at the end of the day, I really do care that my partners win, my leader doesn't get abused, and that I change at least 5 lives a day. Not too much to ask, right?
So there's a lot of people listening to this right now, watching this. They're saying, I wish I was frontline to Yvette. What are you going to tell them?
The biggest word I use all the time is consistency. I don't care who you are. If you show up every day, my son's 24 years old. He says, Mama, I'm not any more special than anyone else. He said, I just show up every day consistently and it just pays off. You don't have to be Trent. You don't have to be Rav. You don't have to be Kieran. You just have to be consistently you. And if you're not upline to me, all I can give you is I get a lot of texts and I get a lot of WhatsApp app questions. How do I get better? I'm like, well, figure out who you are and literally do it every day. And people will jump in your boat like Sesame Street. Trust me.
Okay. So I know some inside information, about you. And I think it might be helpful for people to understand that they can build their upline. They can build their sponsor. Trent's told me that he's 10 times better as a sponsor and upline because you make him be better. You push him to be better. You don't just say, okay, that sounds great, if you don't think it is great. And so you'll call him out, and that's forced him to reach deeper and become a better upline. So you can't choose your upline. You sign up, you know nothing, right? You sign up, you know nothing. You sign up with your brother, your best buddy, or a stranger, and now it's like, oh man, why did I choose one of these other guys I've just met here, right? But it's too late for that. And so what are you going to do? How do you do that? I mean, Trent, obviously I love Trent. I mean, he's, I've known him since he was in diapers. But the reality of it is, because you're not somebody's slave as their downline. You're an individual with agency, and you can push them just as much as you can push the downline, and should be. How do you do it?
Well, I don't really know how to answer that. I don't know. I don't understand.
Let me suggest what I think you're doing. And you tell me if it's right. I think that because you're honest, when you hear something that you don't understand or agree with, you respectfully challenge it.
Yes.
I think that's a hallmark of your personality. I think you've been doing that for a long time before you met Unicity.
Yeah.
And I suspect that in your marriage and in your parenting, you're that way too.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the people in your family better. Yeah. So there's an element of, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to come to you from a place that I love you. I want you to be the best upline to me that you can possibly be, selfishly, but also for you. And so I'm not going to be willing to just say, oh yeah, it sounds great, when it doesn't sound great.
Well, so, I mean, I always tell my kids, there's a song, there's a line in a song from Chris Brown, my favorite Pink. You make me genuinely better. I used to tell my kids all the time, your spouse, your friends should make you a better person. You're as strong as your leader. That's my favorite statement, is you're as strong as your leader. And I have such a great leader that has taught me how to be a big leader. And when I need a little bit of a softer approach, I call Trent. How would you approach this? And that's where bless comes in. Just bless. Take a deep breath. Because I want everyone to want this as much as I do. If I call you and they say, I'm not really doing it anymore, I get so upset. I'm like, it hurts my feelings. So I have to check myself every time and say, they're not me. Just because they work with me doesn't mean they have to work like me. So I try to find people where they are. I give them the feedback they need without hurting their feelings, if that makes any sense.
But it's okay if their feelings get hurt, as long as it's true. Yeah. And as long as it comes from a place of genuine concern. Yeah. Right? Whether it's upline or downline. Is that fair?
Yeah, like when Trent and Rav said, go left, I'm like, okay, I'll go left twice. Go right, okay, I'll go right twice. And when I give someone an example, don't do that on TikTok anymore. And they do it 10 times. I'm like, okay, what do you do? What do you do? I send a few training things and I just go from there. So you can't win them all. You just, again, you have to meet people where they are in their life at that time, and then go back to the end of the line and start over again. So
and deep down, you and I have had a conversation about one of your sons once, and what I saw in that conversation is that you saw in him things he didn't see in himself. Yeah. Right? So can you basically agree that that's the essence of any great relationship? You see value in someone that they don't see in themselves. They're your sponsor. I'm dealing with a situation right now on one of my ranches where one of the top cowboys and the ranch manager aren't getting along so well. I don't want to lose either one of these guys. They're both highly skilled. And the reality of it is literally had a conversation with one of them this morning, and it was, listen, we got to figure out a way to work together. Great leaders are willing to discuss ideas. They're not defensive about my way or the highway philosophy. And I think as you look at an upline, whether it's Trent or whether it's Rav, now those are two very different personalities.
Yep.
Right? Radical. They like each other, but they couldn't be more different, right? And you've managed to build both of them by seeing what's there.
Well, I take a little bit of Rav and I take a little bit of Trent, and I actually take a little bit of Kieran, because Kieran, she's changed a lot since I've met her, and I like to see her butterfly. I like to see her butterfly. And the thing with Rav is what he sees in me, I never saw. I never thought that it didn't matter what people thought of me. I'm a very sensitive person. I cry a lot. My feelings get hurt a lot. But at the end of the day, if I truly believe in something, I don't care what you say about me. You can make fun of me. You can say whatever you want about me, but I know I'm in the right place, right time. So no matter what you say, and I try to teach that to my partners, stop caring what people think about you, care about your mission. You have a mission. What is your mission? So I want to be as good of a leader as Rav and Trent in their own rights, but I want to be my own leader,
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's well said. All right, we're coming to the end of our conversation. Anything that you want to say, anything that you want to expand on or correct, or anything else that's really deeply important to you that you share?
No, all I know is every time I start to think about all my people quitting, I think of that picture of the guy looking for the diamond, and he turns around and leaves, and it's literally one swipe away. A lot of the people that wanted to self-flush in the very beginning that are still here are so grateful for the pain they went through. Because like Rav said last night, think of some accomplishments you've had in your life, and one of them is my children. Birth is not for the weak. And this is like giving birth every single day. It never stops. It wakes me up every day, but it lights a fire under me like I've never lit in my lifetime. Like my husband's like, she can't put it down. I mean, I had surgery on the 31st. I think the first, I might have been still nerve blocked. I'm doing TikToks because I really didn't want to miss a beat. And so all I can say is don't quit, and consistency really does count. It does. It does.
It's like giving birth, one of the most painful things in human experience, from what I've been told. And
I think your wife would know.
yeah, she knows. And yet, is there anything that brings more joy than seeing that child grow and develop and become an independent, successful adult?
Nope. And I used to giggle because we would leave the nursing station about 7:10. We would walk to our cars, complaining the whole way. See you at 7 in the morning. Like you just completely forgot, spit on, urinated on, yelled at. Maybe I poked myself a few times with some needles. See you at 7. And you're like, what? So I try to think of it like that. It's not a job. It's an adventure, truly.
Yes. Yvette, we are so grateful. Yvette Oxford, amazing leader, amazing woman, amazing wife, amazing mother. She's got a great family along with this great business. We're so grateful to have her involved and be able to participate with her in her journey. I hope you really dove deep on what she's talking about. Look between the sentences for what she's really trying to communicate to you, because none of us communicates exactly what's in our head. But if you look carefully enough, my friends, you will get some advice and counsel and an overall mood that, quite frankly, can make you a multimillionaire. Thanks very much, Yvette. Appreciate you.
Safe travels.
I will. Take care. Thank you again, everyone.